Our farm, our business is operating virtually 24 hours a day. Um, in the process, on the processing end of things, my day starts around 1:30 in the morning. We produce all the milk ourselves on our farm, and that milk has to be moved up here to be processed. We only process milk 4 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Monday morning and Thursday morning in particular are pretty early starts. And we start sanitizing the plant around 3:30. We start some equipment running and start separating milk to make skim milk and heavy cream around 4 o'clock, and we start bottling milk around 5. And typically on our bigger days, we're done packaging by 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and takes about an hour and a half of startup to sanitize and sterilize everything, and then it takes about another hour and a half after to clean up. Everything in a dairy plant has to be washed clean daily. All the pipeline circuits and everything cleaned and sanitized daily. So we're basically doing that twice a day.
Okay.
On the farm end of things, we milk at 11 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock in the morning till about 6 or 7 at night is one milking shift, and another milking shift starts at 11 o'clock at night and finishes up at 6 or 7 in the morning. And all told, our business employs 37 or 38 people right now.
Okay.
That includes about 10, 11 delivery people, 6 processing people, 7 counting myself, 3 office people, and everything else is farm employed. We're currently milking about 505.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is that large for a farm in Vermont? Or?
We don't technically qualify as a large farm. That we actually fall into the medium category. We're on the very high end of medium, but there are much larger farms in Vermont. Farms milking 2,000 or 3,000 cows. I think the treatment or appreciation of the migrant workers varies a great deal from farm to farm.
Yeah.
In general, the better farms, the better managers, the better people, totally respect, what the migrant worker brings to their business and pays accordingly and treats them accordingly. But then certainly there are others that view them as cheap labor, and perhaps not deserving of respect as some, which is very unfortunate. Perhaps not crucial. Technology has assisted, or technology which is expensive but available, can help counteract the need for some labor on farms, but certainly there'll always be the need for labor and as manual labor. And as farms get larger and larger, it's harder and harder for a farmer to provide that labor himself. So it certainly makes sense. And yeah, perhaps you could say it's crucial, but it's not necessarily, I don't personally view it as crucial that there be a cheap source of willing labor. It's more that there be people willing to do the work, and as it gets harder and harder to get local people to do that type of work, it does become more, we don't employ or utilize any migrant labor, and I'm not quite sure how we've managed to avoid it, but I know there are a number of times when it feels like migrant workers are here for one purpose, and that's to work and earn as much money as possible to support their families back home, wherever home is. Sometimes, but more and more, at least there'll be at least one Hispanic fellow, or obviously Jamaicans aren't. I mean, Jamaicans tend to speak English as English, but so typically there'd be at least one worker that can translate. It typically isn't the case where the employees don't speak any English and the farmer doesn't speak any Spanish. I mean, I think that's becoming quite rare. So probably more the migrant workers are picking up English or can at least communicate fairly well and understand directions and such.
So do you see migrant workers in the community outside of the farm often?
Perhaps not fully involved. I think a lot of times, depending on the immigration status of any particular worker, I think that probably affects how much they get out and involved in things. But some are very outgoing, just like us. Some are really outgoing and some aren't, and I don't tend to be out socializing a lot either. So
Sounds like you're a little
On
bit
the
busy.
farm, yeah.
typically,
Do you ever see them? Are they ever at the church, the local church? Would they be able to go if they wanted to?
oh, certainly, yeah. And in this part of Vermont, it's if not formally stated that immigrants would not be harassed by law enforcement. If it's not actually stated, it's understood that just doesn't happen. Up in the northern part of the state, near the Canadian border, they can be a great deal more aggressive at up in Franklin County. I think it can be more of a problem.
Okay.
Farms are as large as here. There are slightly more of them, and perhaps might be more dependent on immigrant labor. Certainly the largest challenge would be that the immigration laws and regulations and rules don't allow for enough volume of willing labor to, they'll gladly grant immigration status to professionals, looking to immigrate to the U.S. But it's kind of out of the reach of a manual laborer type person. So I think most employers that would hire immigrant labor would prefer for it to be all above board and legal, in all senses, because these people want to work, and he needs people that want to work. So just the lack of adequate immigration laws perhaps would be one of the largest factors. You really need to take pride in what you do and believe in what you do, and we're an integral part of our community in this area, and as the whole buy local movement expands, that incidentally is something that we've always promoted, but now it's a thing, and the fact that just as there are bad immigrant employees or migrant labor employees, people who aren't real desirable as employees and don't have good habits and don't follow directions well, just like any worker, there are also bad employers, just whether they're dealing with immigrant workers or not. People that it all needs to be done respectfully, and the migrant workers need to be appreciated. They need to be appreciatable, but they also need to be appreciated, not just viewed as a warm body. Yeah.
You love the cows.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's important to remember that in order for the cows to produce as much milk as we need them to produce, to be cost efficient at all, the cow needs to be completely happy and relaxed and content. And any stresses that impact their milk production as well. So every farmer, certainly has to care about his animals. That's what he's about. Some do better than others, but yeah. 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 You can't mistreat people and expect to get good work out of them. This is not to try and paint us as saints, but we do always try to treat people like we would want to be treated. I'm sure you'd probably get varying opinions on that, like any group of employees, but
We chose the right milk company to buy the chocolate milks from.
yes, you did.